thinking about this more online space, and of course, COVID, places had to go even more online. How do we still capture that multi-layered experience successfully, making people feel really good and connected, and like there's this memorable experience when we're in this kind of, online touchless space?
Yeah, that's interesting.
So I think, first of all, omni-channel, right? People talk about omni-channel, and I absolutely despise the term omni-channel, because whilst for a corporate culture thing, it might put it in a comfortable categorization, omni-channel doesn't describe the customer experience. It describes what the company wants to deliver. They want to sell stuff across different channels. And I've been known to say, when is the last time you said to your partner, your friend, your puppy, oh my gosh, I had the best omni-channel experience today? It doesn't happen. And so the criticality of this is to absolutely go about what you said, Emily, and talk about how the customer feels through every step of a 360-degree experience. Even before COVID, 86% of the customer journeys start online. There's some research online. And so how they feel online can determine whether or not they come further on the journey with you. And so if you miss it there, you miss it. I'll give you an example. This one occasion in Lowe's, we were working on a project, a category, and we said to the digital team, and this will also get to what we need to do to elevate the customer experience. We said to one of the teams, what if we were to help you with this digital experience so that it's more cohesive, it's more integrated, it's less friction, and so it can seamlessly take the customer where they want to go. They didn't like that initially because they had done, oh no, but I've shown all my elements here and here and here. I said, but that's not what the customer wants. What the customer wants is to see, what does this product and this category do for me? How does it make me feel? How does it answer the questions I have? How does it address my aspiration? And so, long story short, now in corporate culture, one of the huge barriers we had first is, how do you break the cross-functional barrier? So one of the questions asked of me is, well, who's going to get credit for this? And I'm like, Brett has shared that occasionally I can use colorful language. I won't here. But I said it doesn't matter who gets credit. It's not about credit. How do you elevate the experience for the customer to bring them all the way through? Because if you bring them all the way through, and if you care about them along the journey, then they're going to stay with you longer. They won't abandon you. And there's way too many options in the industry in order for the customer to lose you if you don't fulfill their needs. Long story short, we reworked the digital experience. It allowed the customer to see different options of the category that we were working on. They could envision themselves in this space. And then if they wanted the information on what the components were, they could do a click down and a click down and a click down. Okay, 1,100% increase.
Wow.
1,100, and I'm not missing a number. I'm not a finance person, but I'm not missing a number. It was an 1,100% increase because people felt they could visualize it, they could feel it. And if all of us did a little bit more of that, especially now back to your point about COVID, it changed since COVID because now more people are more familiar with how to do search online. There's absolutely zero patience. If I don't get what I need in 30 seconds, I'm out. I can abandon you and go somewhere else. And so urgency, for me, it's patient urgency. It's not just random, but like, how do you thoughtfully consider taking the customer all the way through this experience so you bring them all the way on the journey with you and you get them to spend more time with you? And by the way, and Brett will talk about this for days probably, on how you also build the loyalty so they become your advocates.
When you're trying to talk about this customer experience and elevating it, how do you get teams, in that culture that we have in the US, how do you get teams to engage? I think that was one of the things you were talking about, executing that whole thing in the first book, Customer Experience.
Exactly. And, one of the things was that how do you bring the people together? And one of the things we helped was I was talking to someone just today, Brett, about we need to focus here. And, if we bring people on and they said, well, we'll just hold people accountable to it. I said,
How
no,
do
no,
you
no.
do that?
It's not a
Yeah.
compliance program. They have to feel it.
Yeah.
And they also have to feel the important role they play, no matter what functional role they play. One of the things I've said, I beg people constantly, is please don't let the vertical lines of the organization chart get in the way of a horizontal experience for the customer.
Yeah.
We all purposefully own a piece of this. And for me, and Brett, you and I have worked on this a few times, is in the Harley Davidson system, in the Lowe's system, in the current system, it's about gauging people who have critical points within that ecosystem and helping them understand the critical role they play, but then secondarily helping everybody understand how their roles together is what makes the total experience. And it's about a teaching and a learning as opposed to a do this or else. Do this or else doesn't work. And especially in today's younger culture in the work environment, doesn't work. When I worked in Marriott, we worked with Mr. Marriott once, and he said to me, he says, wow, it's pretty impressive that you're talking to the housekeeper. And I said, you sound surprised. Why wouldn't I talk to the housekeeper? It was a trick question because Mr. Marriott was very much on this. And I said, that housekeeper is the last person who touched my room. That person is the person who's going to set the tone for our customer when they come into the hotel. And so it's critical to me that they feel valued and that they understand that, wow, if we miss the link in the service chain here, we miss completely. And same thing with the servers in the restaurant, with the bus people in the restaurant. Each piece is a critical link. In the design culture, for example, and in clothing culture, that became critical as well. Because if you have the beautiful fabric, by the way, Brett is one of the best, absolute best in the industry in fabric and differentiation and understanding application of fabric to what you want to do. But if you don't do that, then you miss that connectivity with the customer. You, like in motorcycle culture, it was if the fabric isn't soft enough, if it's a long ride, there's abrasion. But you could do a fabric and do a beautiful design, but if then the buttons are too hard or they rub against your chest, or if the zipper pull doesn't work, it's about considering all the elements in order to drive an optimal result.